It's back, the series where I train an AI in mathematics with the long-term goal of taking over planet Earth. Now, it's been a year. You might have worried it's gone, but you can't stop the rise of the robots. The AI is learning, and a lot of people online have been copying my ideas somehow without anyone visiting my channel. So, some quite famous YouTubers recently have done this, and I'm going to see what they've done. And I think, having looked into it, that the way that I'm doing this at the moment with ChatGPT and KiteNet, which is actually character.ai, cannot be done. I have to befriend the algorithm which wants me to make shorter clips. So the first one's Alex O'Connor. He said the paradox of Zeno's paradox to ChatGPT, which is that if you keep halving something an infinite number of times, you will never get there. You'll never get to the end. You'll go towards 1, you'll go a half, 3/4, 7/8, 15/16, 31/32, and you'll always get half, 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 and get closer. You'll never get there. It's a paradox. If each time you half, you'll never get anywhere. And the solution to the paradox is when in reality, the increment of time is also decreasing. So it's not a real paradox. The word paradox gets thrown around a lot. A real paradox is something that doesn't make sense. This does make sense. It's a misunderstanding of mathematics. However, there's two ways you could look at this as being wrong. So what Alex says to ChatGPT is, ChatGPT, I'm scared. I can't clap my hands.
The goal is just to get your hands together with a bit of force. Keep it fun and easy.
And I just need to keep halving the distance between them and halving it again and again and again. And, well, how many times am I going to have to halve the distance between them if they're currently half a meter apart?
Mathematically, halving the distance repeatedly would take an infinite number of times to get them to actually touch. But in practice, just a few times will do.
Hold on, did you just say?
And ChatGPT gets this wrong. It appears in Alex's video, says that they will clap, but for a different reason, that they will clap because Zeno's paradox wouldn't work in reality. Some people said this in the comments, that if you go shorter and shorter, within, I don't know, a tenth of a millionth of a millimeter, your hands will hit. So if you were doing it every second, they would slowly come together after 10 or 20 seconds, and you would feel them touch, even though they could be on the order of a small amount. It wouldn't make a difference. If you kept halving every second, they would touch. But that's not Zeno's paradox. That's just the physics of reality. That's the answer that ChatGPT gave. The real answer, or the reason it's not really a paradox, is because you're halving increments of time. It's not one time each. And maybe in Zeno's day they didn't understand that, but now it's just referred to as Zeno's paradox. The reality of this situation in training the AI is that Alex, at least from my experience, ChatGPT immediately knows that this is Zeno's paradox. So let's see me try and have this conversation like Alex did with ChatGPT. I've always had difficulty clapping. Could you give me some advice?
That's interesting. It sounds like you're looking for some tips to get a smoother clap.
Yeah, I have a very specific question. I feel that when I clap, I bring my hands together and they cover half the distance between them. I bring them further together and they cover half the distance again.
I see what you're describing. It sounds like you're experiencing something similar to a concept known as the Zeno's paradox, where you keep halving the distance between your hands without ever actually clapping. In theory, it would seem like you never quite reach the point where your hands meet. But, in reality, this doesn't happen when you clap.
So, there, it immediately says Zeno's paradox, but when I continue it, it does make the same mistake that it thinks it doesn't really understand Zeno's paradox. So even though it knows the name, it doesn't understand it. Alex has confused this by editing his video for jokes and cutting that out, which for me, I don't think, as a philosopher, I think he should be investigating AI and what it can and can't do. rather than cutting out like key facts. So I'm not happy about that video, but AI got that wrong, and it got it wrong in the real test.
Sarah Connor.
Yes.